Okay.
I'm Eugene Ewan Morey. My father's name was also Eugene Morey, and we assumed control of Hialeah around 1954, late 1954. And we operated Hialeah for approximately 18 years until about 1970. I'll do a tour of the park, and I'll talk as we go along the way and try to remember a few interesting incidents and matters that come to my memory. This is the clubhouse entrance, which was very famous. We've lost some of the royal palms in the recent hurricanes. As you can see, it's quite a stately entrance. So from here, we'll drive on in as though you're going to the clubhouse entrance for a day at the races. This is the grand old ficus tree that's been here forever and has withstood many hurricanes. It's lost some of its limbs, but it's still a grand old tree. And now we're circling around it. Main entrance to the clubhouse, which you can't go through to, so we'll have to look around. This is the entrance here. Towers on each side. Which was erected to honor Joseph Wagner, who was the owner of Hialeah before we took over. He was responsible for many of the beautiful features of the park. This is the clubhouse. It was built to replace the old clubhouse, which was demolished in about 1951 or 52. And this was designed by the architect Lester Geisler, who also came to work for me after we assumed control. It's quite a beautiful building done in the French chateau style. Here are the turnstiles where you enter into the clubhouse. We'll proceed through a fountain and a lily pool with a bronze alligator spouting water. And to the left, of course, is the elevators, and ahead are the escalators to the upper floors. After we came into Hialeah, I had these plaques done of the famous stables that had raced at Hialeah. And as we walk through the clubhouse and grandstand, you'll see several of them. This is C.V. Whitney, a famous old line horse owner, and his brother John Hay Whitney was ambassador to the court of St. James, England. And as we walk along, you'll see that there are many others. This is a Green Tree Stable, which is owned by former ambassador to England, John Hay Whitney. And he raced here many years. And betting room for the big bettors, the so-called high rollers. And this is the one on the ground floor. There's two more on the upper levels. The track itself. And here's a view of the grandstand and clubhouse looking northward. We seated about 30,000 people, plus the terraces, which held many more. And on some days, like our big day, the Flamingo Day each year, we had as many as 40,000 or 45,000 people. Still here, but there's the jockey scale. The jockeys after the race weighed in so they could be stewards to be sure that the jockeys didn't throw the weights out of their saddles as they were going around the track. They always had to weigh in at the end of the race. Just to surprise the scouts. This is the finish line, the red and white poles, and the main dirt course is the first two poles, and then as you look further out there is the grass course, the turf course. Finish line for that. Probably surprised again to see the old tram train still here. This train went back and forth by our tractor trailer truck between Garden State Park, our track in New Jersey, which ran in the spring and fall, and it was here in the winter for the race. It held about 60 people and went back and forth in the parking lots to bring the people into the grandstands. This is the Citation statue, the famous horse who won the Triple Crown and many other races, including our Flamingo here. And also, interestingly, two races at other tracks that my father's company owned. He won the Jan Fran Handicap in San Francisco and the Garden State Stakes at, the Jersey Derby at Garden State Park, which is the track that my father pioneered in 1940. It was the first racetrack built in New Jersey. And as you see, there are plaques that tell the history of his career. And I remember very well. We had a ceremony when we dedicated the statue, and I gave a little speech right from the balcony up there. And the trainer of Citation was there, and Mrs. Warren Wright, who owned Calumet Farm, and it was quite an interesting day. The statue was designed by Thomas and built, sculpted and designed by Thomas Famietti, who surprisingly was a sculptor who lived in a very modest house just a few blocks from the racetrack. I had inquired around the country and interviewed two or three prominent sculptors around the United States, and then someone called his name to my attention, and I met with him and determined that I thought he could probably do it. And he made a small sculpture of Citation about this high, which is how they go from there to a what is called the lost wax method. They take the small statue. We took it to a foundry in Florence, Italy. They take the small statue and build the dimensions up until they have the life-size dimensions. And I paid 2 visits to Florence while it was being done there. But he did a nice, I think quite a nice job, and he also did the Flamingo Fountain, which is over on the far side there, which we can look at a little later, with very nicely executed statues of flamingos in 4 different poses in bronze.
Yeah. Go.
Well, here's the plaque which shows that he was the winner of the Triple Crown, which has only been won by maybe 4 or 5 horses at the most ever since he won it. It's the most coveted trophy in American racing. You have to win the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes. And they've been trying for the last several years to win all 3, but no horse has been able to do it since, I think, a firm that may have been in about 20 years ago. So here are the plaques. He won the Flamingo. That's our #1 stakes here in Hialeah in 1948. Here are the 3 Triple Crown races, the Kentucky Derby, 1948, Preakness, and the Belmont. Here is the Jan Fran Handicap, which was also owned and operated by our company in 1948, which he won. And the Jersey Derby, which is also one of our racetracks, the Garden State Park in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, won in 1948.